distracting me. So everybody, I have gathered you here today because we are going to have a confession stream. I'm going to do my trick now. Listen to this. Let me see what confessions we have today. This is going to be very difficult for me, but I want you to know you did nothing wrong. First confession, I'm going to do my famous Squidward noise that everybody seems to enjoy. Okay, how the hell am I supposed to clear my throat? I'm going to mute my mic. Oh, I forgot that this microphone's not connected to my thing. I muted the mic I normally use for stream. Okay, I saved $200 to spend in Korea. Awesome, I love Korea. Annyeonghaseyo, or whatever Diva says. I entrust the money with my mom. We get to Korea and she says, you should have taken the money. We get back from Korea and I ask my money back. My mom denies of its existence as revenge. I slowly take back $600 from my mom over the course of 2 years. Well, you know what we call that? Interest. And it's better than the mafia. I would say that you do not go to hell. I do not know if you can hear this, but I am going to pour everybody a glass of communal wine. Very sparkly. So what if it's Coke Zero? Next confession. I have sinned in the past. I never have, but that's okay. When I was younger, I, for whatever reason, used to steal clothes from my female family members to play dress up in secret. I'm a male, by the way. Nobody clip that, I'm not a man. I was curious at the time, and I was too scared to be caught, so I would wait until nighttime when everybody was asleep, lock my door, and dress up in pretty girly clothes. Honestly, not that bad, because when my parents were asleep, I would take out my DSI and ERP on Animal Crossing Wild Worlds. So slay, it can get worse. I'm sorry. Actually, before we get to the next confession, I would like to tell you guys about the time I was stepping on the beach, stepping on the beach, stepping on the beach. Did it work? Next confession. Okay. One time, I kissed a plushie. Hopefully not mine. And then I was loving the plushie by kissing it. Somebody check this guy's bank account. Please do not buy my plushie. My grandma walked in and I felt embarrassed after kissing the plushie. I have never read kissing the plushie that many times in my life. That is a lot of kissing. Was their tongue? I'm going to do this just for you, and because I am thirsty, I will drink the communion water without any hands. Now my face is wet. That is fine. Mazel tov. I was supposed to break the glass. Oh my god. Next confession. Okay. I hit my knee on my desk. Did you hear that? Because it really, really hurts. Back in late 2017, my friends and I were playing a game of no. Middle of the night, heavily drunk after 5 hours of playing. I remember clear as day 2 of them, Davis and Ben, were sharing a kiss. What? I'm sorry, I will remain professional. Davis had confessed to Ben. Davis had thought Ben was This is a loaded question. Next confession. Growing up, I copied a lot of things I heard and would say them with pride. So, when I was 5 years old during my Thanksgiving dinner with extended family over, I waited for everyone to be quiet before boldly proclaiming my need for condoms instead of condiments. Well, nobody knows what you meant. Did you explain that you wanted the mustard? I think that you probably will be fine. You are going to heaven where they have Whataburger. Next confession. When I was like 6 to 8 years old. Guys, this is kind of a tangent, but I assume that's okay. Does anybody else not remember anything from when they were a kid? I remember absolutely nothing. I remember nothing all of the time. I was so scared of monsters and the dark. I still am. It is okay that instead of going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I shit on the floor and blamed it on the dog. Never did it again. Well, in the spirit of everything that's happened on Twitch lately, that is not the most shocking dog story I have heard this week. I will say, I first need to know if human feces and puppy poop look the same. Does anybody know? Kind of does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. I'm not taking my meds. I'm not taking my meds. Get out of my head. No. Next confession. During high school, I used to sneak into my girlfriend's second floor room at night with only a ladder and a pair of jumper cables. What the hell were you doing? I didn't want to leave the ladder outside where her mom might see it or where it could be stolen, so I used the jumper cables instead. I hooked the clamp to a ladder rung, climbed up one-handed to the window. The ladder was just short of reaching. Handed her the other end of the cables, climbed in, and pulled the ladder up through the window. I never got caught. It always worked. Well, I first will say, we need you to work at Bethesda. Bethesda. It just works. It just works. It just works. It just works. I think that you are okay and will not go to hell. When I was a kid, probably around 12 or 13, I would play Pokemon cards at my local comic book store. That's where I would play Magic the Gathering, the game of the devil. There was one time when my mom was so late to pick me up afterwards. The store closed and I ended up waiting outside. After a while of doing that, I noticed 2 college-age guys walking down the sidewalk. And one of them kept pointing at me. I didn't think much of it. That is until like 10 minutes later when he came back alone, walked up to me, opened his wallet, and gave me pulled out a $50 bill and tried to hand it to me. Why, you might ask? Well, let me give you some more information and you can guess. Did he think you were going to? Oh, I was actually totally incorrect. He thought he was homeless. I am so sorry for my assumption of your character. All the clothes I had were very old, and my shoes didn't even match. I was wearing not 1 but 10 degrees out. He thought I was a homeless kid about to freeze to death. I didn't know how to explain that I was just waiting for my mom, so I stared at him for 15 seconds and shoved the money back into his hand and walked away. Well, good on you for giving him the money back, because I would have taken it. That would have been mine back when I was in the 4th grade. This would have been 2009 or 2010. I have to sneeze. It was a burp, I lied. If I could get some water from the water fountain during my trek out of ice. Wait, what? I'm illiterate. I am illiterate. I'm illiterate. I am illiterate. I cannot. I asked the teacher if I could get some water from the water fountain, but during my trek out, I snuck off to go to the backpack cubby area of another class. So I go up to the bag of this one kid who was bullying me, and one of my friend just to drop a massive fat shit in the kid's backpack. It landed on top of his lunchbox and everything. I then went back to class acting like nothing happened. Fast forward a few hours at the beginning of lunch while everyone was eating. A loud scream had cut everyone. Wait, what? A loud scream from another classroom cut everyone in my class off. I guess the kid that found the shit I left in his bag. Never in my life since I had ever tried holding back so much laughter. The very crazy thing is that I never got caught. Congratulations. If you do not get caught, then that means God didn't see it either. How did he wipe? He probably did a little shake like this. Or maybe he used his Doritos in the lunchbox. He used the Doritos. Next, what is up with all of the poop stories? Why are you guys shitting so much? I mean, I guess shit happens, but shit happens a lot more to you guys than to me. I have clogged my friend's toilet twice. The first time we went to a convention and ended up sleeping at her grandparents' place. The reason this is important is because I hadn't taken a poo in a week. No shot. Guys, when was the last time you went poo? Just now. I clogged the toilet. It was so bad that I just kept flushing and flushing and flushing. But nothing happened. And I panicked and ended up just leaving it in desperation. They ended up finding out later. Part 2, second time, was at her apartment. I had just filled a compost bin with water and used that to unplug it. She didn't have a bucket. What? Sometimes I think back and reflect on my actions, and I die on the inside. I'm going to be honest. I thought you shit in the compost bin. Now, chat, do you think you should go to hell for pooping? I don't think so. Everybody poops. No. Why do all of you only think about poo-poo pee-pee? Here's a pee-pee story. When I wake up having to pee and don't want to fully wake up, I'll squint so I take in the minimum amount of light, get to the bathroom and pee in the bathtub so I don't have to aim as good, then run the water for a bit and head back to bed. Why? Does peeing in the bathtub make it so you go to hell? People are saying yes. I should be hustling to get sales at work, but instead I'm writing this confession. Also, I ate 1/3 of my dad's cookies. Why would you do that to your father? Why would you do that for your father? I'm going to tell you something that makes me the most mad in the entire world. Growing up, I would see that there was a snack in the fridge that I wanted, at school. But then I would come home and I would see that it was an empty box the entire time. When I was in high school years ago, I had my first car. I was leaving my shift at Panda Express. Orange chicken or orange chicken chow mein. I like Chinese food. After school and got in a car crash. I'm sorry for being insensitive. I should have read ahead. I'm sorry. Me and the guys agreed to just part ways, and luckily both cars were barely damaged. His got only a minor dent. His got a Roblox dent in the front, and my bumper had a big dent and paint missing. The day before I went home, I went to Walmart, got white paint to match the bumper, and painted the bumper that's missing paint in order for my dad and stepmom to not know, and also to push the bump to make it go back so they didn't notice that either. In the end, my parents did not notice for about 3 years until my stepsister got the car for high school and finally realized I was in a car accident but couldn't do anything since I was now overseas in the military living life. I'm going to be honest, you did such a good job covering it up that you basically had no car accident. You won heaven. I once witnessed 3 dudes using one of those giant urinals with the drain in the middle. What the fuck? That exists. And the man in the middle had his jeans to his ankles, bent over to lift them up, and proceeded to gargle on 2 dudes' pee. What? I will say, you probably won't go to hell, but that guy's gonna have to go to the hospital. Next, currently live alone right now, so I walk around in my birthday suit, but I also have paranoia. Oh no. So I stealth around like Bigfoot hiding from cameras, even though I know I'm alone. This is a lesson in confidence. Be confident in who you are. Do not be scared to be naked. I am not autistic. Next question. I have a coworker who, if you pass him, will give you a thumbs up. Very cool. That is very cool. About 2 weeks ago, I came upon a fact about Skibbity Toilet. Skibbity Toilet. The camera heads use thumbs up as a military salute. Even after I told him that about this, he still gives out the thumbs up. But when he gives me one, he immediately looks down and takes psychic damage. I might have ruined his favorite emote. Well, now you go to hell for ruining that man's emote. So when I was 15, my brothers and I would get dropped off at the Boys and Girls Club during summer for like 3 years. One morning before the first assembly, I can't read, ever happened yet, I accidentally shit my pants. What is wrong with you people? More shit. Sorry, that was not professional. I waddled to the bathroom, flushed what had to be, and then threw my underwear behind the toilet, proceeding to go the entire day commando. Honestly, that's not that bad. I didn't know that my pants had a very big rip in them when I was at the gym, and so I didn't want to have a panty line. I threw up. I would never wear underwear to the gym. I was stretching and I realized everybody could see my hole. I will continue your story. After about half an hour or so, an awkward announcement over the PA told everyone, skip music, that someone could come into the office and grab their underwear. Sister Barry to you. That man could have interrogated me like a Riddler thug, have me in the now talk pose, and I still wouldn't have admitted the underwear was mine. And I never told anyone what happened. you will go to heaven. And guess what? Everybody is naked. You will never have to deal with this problem again. When I was 19 on Halloween, I went to a huge costume party. But I only told my parents I was going to hang out at a friend's house for the night and watch scary movies. Drinking age in Canada is 18. You lucky bastard. As it was a secret from my parents that I was going, I had my friend get a costume for me, which turned out to be a chicken. The party lasted all night and into the morning. 8 a.m. came, party ended, we were sloshed, and our designated driver started taking all of us home. What I didn't know was that my mother decided to host a book club that morning with her friends. So I get home into the front door, plastered in a chicken costume, right in the middle of a dozen old women drinking tea. If I was Peter Griffin, I would have beat your ass. I think he can still go to heaven because it wasn't intentional. And secondly, because you made me laugh. If you make me laugh, you get to go to heaven for free. Okay, tittle. Middle schoolers being pyromaniacs. It sounds worse than what it is. Okay, so we were in 9th grade. Fashion was hitting harder to some than others. But there was a commonality. Lotions, perfumes, and piercings. Some dudes were even bringing their own piercing kits. A nail, a lemon, and a lighter. That sounds very dangerous. Like this bomb that I have in my pocket. It wasn't too long before the fun started. Between periods, while waiting for the teacher to get to the classroom, someone grabbed their own lotion and lighter and began flame-throwing the hell out of the bottle. Oh my god. Next thing we know, at least other 3 maniacs followed suit. The only time they stopped was when the lighter got too hot, but gave the brilliant idea to the classroom couple to try something romantic. Why not grab a sheet of paper, draw a heart, and with an oil marker, smear perfume all around the drawing outline, and light it? Quite the burning love, isn't it? Yes, that it burned too well. 3 seconds was the time it took everyone involved to realize it was a bad idea. The paper started to burn with force. The smell of perfume and smoke filled the classroom. As no one had water at hand, the 5 to 6 idiots, me included, closer to the fire began stepping on the paper with despair to fight it off. Good thing no one was injured. The classroom ended up smelling awful, but we managed to ventilate most of it before the teacher arrived. Happy ending, I guess. Sorry, I don't do that. Love you, Barry. You're my Oshi. Oshit. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You are going to heaven because you watch my stream. Thank you. While I was visiting my family in the Philippines, they asked me if I wanted to visit the dentist in the local village. So I did. It was in someone's house. I got my fillings done. This was back in 2025. Can't remember when they started falling out, but long story short, I'm missing more than 8 teeth now. I'm not sure. Oh, 2005. I was gonna say I'm not sure how they all fell out in 10 months. But both my eyeballs fell out, and I could not read what you said. Honestly, you get to go to double heaven. They have a wiener schnitzel up there. I hope you enjoy your corn dog. I have looked up BerryCrepe on Rule 34. Then I was disappointed when there were no results. I would like to say, get to work. That's not true. There's 3. I didn't even know there were 3, but somebody has exposed themselves in chat. Thank you, 3 artists. I appreciate it. There's 4. Thank you, artists. Amen. Mega Owl, thank you for 6 months, he says. Half a year on the day of confessions, praised be Priestess Berry. Came back to school after being ill when I was 14. First class, I accidentally called my teacher Mum. Well, at least you didn't say Grandma. I called my teacher Grandma once, and I think she lives with that memory forever. Only nude one available is so badly edited it has no clam. It's just smooth down there like a Barbie doll. I do have labia. Next, I once got my little sister in trouble by messing up her sink in her bathroom and then leaving chocolate underneath her bed for my parents to find. Why did you put chocolate under your sister's bed? Little known fact to chat. Actually, largely known fact. Very large fact incoming. Boom. I do not like chocolate because when I was a kid, I wanted to be different and special. So I made a lie that I didn't like chocolate. Eventually, it caught up to me, and I actually didn't like chocolate because I never ate it. I bought a Love Sense toy and let a bunch of random people use it, including people from your Discord. Who participated in this? I can't yell at you, but know that I'm screaming on the inside. Who are you? Who are you? I used to go to church with my grandparents when I was younger, 3 to 6 years old. It was a community church that had sort of a daycare on the side for kids to attend to while parents/adults would listen to service. It was a really nice community with a pretty large group of people, but not to the point where it was overly crowded. The daycare would do little activities for the kids to participate in as a community event. And one of those events was a bicycle race. Fun. All of the kids, including me, were around 5 years old at the time when it happened. I don't remember where the prize being or anything, so it was just for fun. However, my tiny self didn't take it that way. We only had to cycle for 3 laps, and the first person to reach the finish line was the winner. Again, it was all just for fun. It was the last lap, and I was tied with some other kid for first place. Being the little imp I was. You're a little gremlin. I had to win it and kicked the kid off his bike. Of course, people saw I did since you kicked him. That just registered in my brain that you kicked him. Tatsumaki kick. Of course, people saw what I did since the parents were watching the whole thing. So I got yelled at, but it didn't matter to me because I got first place. While the kid was crying in his mom's arms and won absolutely nothing. Well, I think you should go to heaven because you won, and that kid should go to hell for losing. That is my stance. I had to take night classes for college. The classes were from 4 p.m. CST to 9:50 p.m. CST. Thank you for the details. Thank you. These classes made me miss streams from twitch.tv/BerryCrepe. Can I be forgiven for missing streams because of college? No, absolutely not. You will go to hell, and you will burn for an eternity. Twitch.tv/Berry_Crepe. I asked out a co-worker at my first job. She said yes. Yes! And completely ghosted me. No! After one text, we both pretended it never happened next time we saw each other. She is going to hell. She should have just said, no, I'm sorry that happened to you. What was your text? Do you know what works on the ladies? A game of cup pong. A game of cup pong. I once had to be taken to the hospital because my ex sat on my face too long. W. sorry. That was too based. I was a tired dingus, and I went to work with my Uncle John. Everybody say hello to Uncle John. When we pulled into the local gas station, I went in to get a Monster to help me wake up, and then I paid and left. Now I was tired, dead even. We pulled up in a white pickup truck, right well half asleep. Me jumps into a white pickup truck, thinking I was talking to my uncle, only to turn my head after hearing, "Wrong truck, bud." And I jumped out to see the truck next to the one I got in, and John is laughing. I felt so red in the face, OMG. Still won't let me live it down. This has happened to me, but not exactly the same. I walked up to a car that looked like the car that I was going into the store. Then I pulled on the door, but it was locked. So I kept pulling on the door very, very hard. I probably looked like I was going to rob that man. He stared at me, and I ran away. So, at least you didn't look like a robber. I once had a Lego lodged in my throat for 2 weeks before coughing it up. What? We've all heard of eating microplastics, but have you heard of macroplastics? You will go to heaven, but I am glad that you lived today. What happens if it comes out the other side? Does pooping a Lego hurt more or less than stepping on a Lego? He was literally shitting bricks. I once got a blowjob at a funeral. So somebody died, but then 9,000 babies died that day too. Heaven, I had fun. Did you have fun?